this is an exciting time as a clinician, right? That as we set up the guardrails and the governance, that we can start to avail ourselves of these technologies in ways that meaningfully impact our work. It's actually making healthcare digital. I would argue that healthcare has been electronic for about the last 15 to 20 years, but it certainly hasn't been digital. Any technology that slows you down, I don't think we could classify as digital. But it's interesting how I think it's going to pivot attitudes and measurements in the way that we move forward. And Sam talked about 1,000 flowers blooming. I think in any individual healthcare system, I'd settle for 100, but that's funnel that quickly down to 5. and let's make sure that they actually work. So, I see some things that are really spreading quickly are things like ambient documentation.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, the first questions that come up with physicians, right? And I think this in some ways speaks to trust from an organizational perspective. So what are you going to do with my time now that I'm more efficient? Are you just giving me this thing so I can see more patients? Are you going to increase my RVUs? Like what's going to happen with this time? And so I've been thinking about that a lot. And then I started to think, well, what if I did have to see more patients? So let's say right now, the most I can see in terms of patients in an hour is 4 to 6, depending on your population and how sick they are. For specialists, obviously that's going to be different. I'm speaking as a primary care physician, but the bulk of my time was administrative stuff. I was worried about searching through the chart to find the information. Then I had to document my visit. Then I had to bill the visit. Then I had to make sure I had the right referrals and the right prescriptions. And a lot of those things take time. But what if I just was going into a room, I had a synopsis of what I needed right in front of me, and then just talked to the patient, told the patient everything was going to happen. And when I left the room, all the other stuff was done. The documentation was automatically done. Referrals were done. Prescriptions were done and sent. Coding was all done. And now I just had to walk to the next room to see a patient and have another synopsis ready for me to see the next patient. Why wouldn't I see more patients? This is what I went into medicine for, is just to interact with patients. So, I think it'll be really liberating to see how, as we become digital, as we really digitize our workflows and our interactions with fellow clinicians and with patients, it'll be fascinating to see how much we can unlock and how it affects the attitudes of our clinicians that have been suffering for so long, and rightfully and understandably.